And I think we all can say, Alan, the plot thickens.
Man, the drama in this series just keeps ratcheting up from game after game after game. And this one, of course, the conversation will be about Joel Embiid, the MVP, putting up 50 points in a playoff game, a career high for him. But also how this game started with him and the play that he had against Mitchell Robinson early on, which some people think that it could have been a flagrant 2, and maybe he shouldn't even be in the game, but he stays in. And he had himself. I mean, that's a historic performance by him, putting his money where his mouth is after saying that his team was better and they were going to win this series. Well, they're right back in it.
Yeah, that could have definitely been a flagrant 2. That's a judgment call by the officials. That's not a basketball play. Could have led to an injury to Mitchell Robinson that might cost him some time here in this series. Joel Embiid definitely got a break on that play. He also, had a technical foul earlier on Hartenstein where, the knee went where it probably shouldn't have. Mm-hmm. And, he got away with one there, in my opinion, in that one, too. Could have been a different flagrant one on that play also. But at the same time, that performance on a guy who has one leg and one bad knee, that was impressive. I mean, he didn't miss. Making tough shots with players draped all over him from the three-point line, all over the floor, gets to the free throw line, 50 points with one leg on that knee where he can barely move. That's how skilled and talented he is. You throw in Maxey playing some really good basketball at the guard position. Also Cameron Payne with some big threes. Huge threes that really broke the Knicks' backs. Now, the Knicks found their offense. They got to figure out a way to slow down Joel Embiid next game.
It took an epic third quarter, right? Like an epic third quarter. You understand this, too.
I mean, the shots were like,
unbelievable.
Yeah.
And Mike Breen said it, and he's absolutely right, because with, the mood swings in a playoff series can happen, and you feel like all momentum going one way or another. And for the Knicks, there were some times where they turned the ball over, like you just saw right there, but otherwhere, Tyrese Maxey got it going early, and then all of a sudden, it just started raining threes. 9 of 12. Just think about that for a minute. In one quarter, they scored 43 points, 9 of 12. They were in the same play like 3 or 4 times in a row. Embiid got 4 3-pointers out of it. He was 4 for 4 from downtown. This is your 7'2" center just hitting rainbow threes from downtown. We do know the Knicks are susceptible to that, to big men. They have done that all this season. And for this game, it made a difference. Now, a lot of things to talk about as we look at the box score. And the biggest one is going to be the free throw difference right there. 33-19, a lot. Obviously, the fouls themselves were 25-18. There was a lot of talk about officiating after Game 2. The Sixers complained about it, and some might view this as they got something back for it after all that complaining.
On the plus side for the Knicks, Jalen Brunson, by far his best game of the series, 39 points and a playoff career high for him, 13 assists. But let's go back to the officiating. You wonder, Wally, we wondered how this was going to go. And in the first quarter, we had 5 reviews. Mm-hmm. We had 2 flagrant ones called. And you mentioned the Embiid flagrant 1 in a different circumstance, maybe in the regular season,
or
maybe a different player, it's a flagrant 2.
Draymond Green, is he still in the game?
So that's going to be a huge talking point, is what happened here in the first quarter when Embiid got a flagrant 1, and you're watching, you say, hey, maybe this could have been a flagrant 2.
Definitely could have been a flagrant 2. Mitchell Robinson is in a vulnerable position going up to try to dunk. He gets his leg pulled away from behind him. This was a physical play to start the game. Kyle Lowry said, I didn't mean anything, but he just cold-cocked the guy in the head. And that was the knee to the groin. I mean, that's a blatant knee to the groin. Joel Embiid banging Hartenstein around here. And this was the play where on the ground, and look at the little shove afterwards, too. It wasn't just the pull, it was the shove of Mitchell Robinson also after Mitchell Robinson's going down to the ground. I mean, that is not a basketball play. That is a malicious act of intent to try to possibly injure someone. There is no question, by the way flagrant 1s and flagrant 2s are written, it definitely could have been called a flagrant 2, and he could have possibly been tossed and never been able to get to this 50-point game.
Think about that, too, right? If he gets thrown out, the performance that he has doesn't happen, and who knows how this game goes. But you have to credit the Knicks in that situation there, because that was an opportunity where some teams that might not be able to handle that early on could have completely unraveled, right? Because it looked like Embiid got rattled a little bit early on and was doing things that were completely out of control. And yet the Knicks' response was exactly the right thing to do, especially on the road and understanding what was going on, is that they just kept playing hard. He kept playing hard. They certainly got in his face a couple times. You saw DiVincenzo get into his face. But the point is that it didn't rattle them on the road. No. They did not unravel. They were actually leading this game at the half. I thought they had a really good first half of basketball on the road, all things considered, especially with those fouls and the things that were happening physically early in the game.
Yeah, you can't let, the referees dictate your play. You have to just say, hey, the refs made a call. We have to deal with it. We have to live with it. You can complain about it after the game. You can look at the play, and we can complain about it because we're not playing in the game. But complaining about it during the game is not going to help you at all. You just have to go out there and compete and try to get that win. He gets knocked to the ground, misses going up, grabs his ankle, grabs his leg, then pushes him down.
Like, what are you doing
that
here?
Is not at all
that's where he hurt the ankle, and then he tried to play through it.
Didn't play in the second half.
Where, Embiid, again, was out of control in this game and kind of just stumbling towards the basket, trying to draw fouls. I mean, all the shots he was taking were all simply just trying to draw contact.
I mean,
but he kept landing
all
on
over the place. He was not even able to get up and down the floor. That was the other play where he just kind of landed wrong, landed awkward.
He also kicked him in the groin, too, there.
Yes.
The leg went out. Now, remember, Mitchell Robinson was questionable going into this game with the, they called it the ankle management off of that surgery. But it's going to be interesting to see. There's 2 days off now between games, so does he have time to recover? Because he is very important in this series when guarding Embiid.
And you see Hartenstein had the foul trouble, and that didn't help the cause tonight either. All right. All right, Monica McNutt helped call the game tonight on ESPN Radio, 98.7 FM now, joins us from Philadelphia. Monica, your impressions from game number 3.
Joel Embiid should have been ejected. Beyond that, you ran into a buzzsaw in that third quarter, guys. Joel Embiid knocking down 4 threes, the team shooting 9 of 12 from 3 in the third quarter alone. I mean, that was the differentiating quarter in this ballgame. And I truly don't want to be stuck on what I believe should have been an ejection, but obviously, if that is called, it's a play that alters the outcome of this ballgame. Now, just like head coach Tom Thibodeau, Jalen Brunson, and the leadership of this team, they're not going to make excuses. They're going to prepare for the outcome on Sunday, but you got to hope that Mitchell Robinson is available to help this team contend in that one as well. But this is the nature of a series. As much as people were attuned and attentive to the last 2-minute report, I am curious to see what the league has to say about that play between games.
Yeah, it's funny. If there was a first 2-minute report, it might be a real interesting one to watch in this one, Monica. But how about let's talk about the end of the game? Because despite everything that happened in that third quarter, despite the fact that at the start of the fourth quarter, the Knicks were kind of like still hanging around, and it felt like when they got it to 8, there was this thought, and they had possession twice. Boy, if you get a shot here, does Philly start to tighten up? That's the one thing I feel like that Tom Thibodeau and the Knicks did was they never let go of the rope in this game and kind of let them know like they were still on them all the way to the very end. This was not a blowout win by any stretch of the imagination.
You could feel it here in the arena, Han. I said to Pat O'Keefe, my partner on radio, do you feel the tension, the nerves in this building? I think when Isaiah Hartenstein's what would have been a high percentage 2-point shot gets blocked by Batum, you kind of feel the Sixers fans and the Sixers feel a little bit more at ease about what was unfolding here late in the ballgame. But by no means were the Knicks about to go away. I think in the Garden, the Hartenstein dunk, one of those threes by Dante DiVincenzo, -2 errant passes on behalf of the Knicks just having miscommunications. Those type of things did not happen at home, and thus here the momentum was on the side of the Philadelphia 76ers. But again, the Knicks still hold a 2-1 lead in this series. I would not say that they played one of their best games. Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby had better offensive performances, but in the conversation of have you seen the best of this team in totality in this series, I'm not sure that you have just yet. I still think there's room for every cylinder to be clicking on a high level.
Yeah, Monica, it is game on now. This is going to be a heck of a series moving forward, like a big-time heavyweight matchup. A lot of plot lines, a lot of storylines. How do the Knicks get the next game? How do they get this next win in Philly?
So, Wally, I'm not sure if you guys observed this, but I thought the Knicks did an excellent job to start this ball game of remaining poised.
Yes.
The Sixers were all into the officiating. There was all this extracurricular. Now, contrast that to the third quarter. I thought the Knicks lost that. In fact, it looked like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in terms of the way that they came out very flustered by officiating and a little bit off their cylinder, off kilter, I should say. So for me on Sunday, the first thing is going to be your poise. You can match this team, right? Joel Embiid had 35 points in the Garden, you still come out with the win, right? You can match this team, but you have to stay poised to do it. You can't miscommunicate and pass the ball errantly, have unforced errors and turnovers, because the room for error is not that big. But the first thing is going to be if they can continue to be poised, because those are some emotional guys on the other side. And I'm not saying that as a negative connotation, but we saw the emotion when the ball game started. And so poise to me is going to be huge. They've got to continue to knock down shots. Can they put together the supporting cast with the performance that we saw from Jalen Brunson tonight that was more reminiscent of the guy that we'd seen all through the regular season?
Okay, Monica, we'll leave it there. We'll talk to you Sunday. We have a pregame at 12:30, so we'll see you on the pregame show before game number 4.
Sounds good.
You know, talking about the supporting cast, the reality here, guys, 114 points was probably enough to win the game.
More than enough to
Hart
win.
had 20 points again.
Amazing.
Hit 4 more threes.
Amazing.
Anunoby had 17.
Good sign.
Hartenstein.
We've barely
14?
mentioned the fact that Jalen Brunson found his game.
Right.
How about
I
the
know.
fact that we haven't even talked about he had 39 points, almost a 40-point
We
night.
thought he would, too.
Right. Right.
But the point I'm
that's
making,
a
there was enough
promising
offense
thing.
to win tonight. There was enough, and you got help from more than just Brunson as well, with Brunson having his best
Billy
game
had
of the
a
series.
43-point quarter
Yeah.
and
Right.
hit 9 of 12
43
from 3.
points in
It is
quarter.
very difficult to recover from a quarter like that. And, like I mentioned, and Monica said it too, they almost did in the fourth quarter. They had some chances, just couldn't make the play.
And those were tough shots. I mean, Maxi's making step backs 3 feet behind the line.
Campaign
Just
comes
drilling
in and
threes.
just knocks down a couple.
Campaign's
too.
making threes where the basket's there and he's shooting this way. I mean, it's literally
Have you
like
ever
this.
seen that before?
Like he squares his body this way and then he shoots that way.
whatever works.
And he drilled a couple
Maybe I
threes in
should have
that
tried
second
that.
quarter.
That's pretty good.
I mean,
lost the rebounding battle, like little things. But even when you think about when role players play at home, they play better, they play more free, right? And then when you go on the road, sometimes those players don't play as well. I didn't think the Knicks weren't getting contributions off their bench. I didn't see it like that whatsoever.
It was good enough tonight.
It was still
Deuce
enough.
was ready. Bogdanovich was ready.
Yeah, I believe it was 1918, right? Was the bench scoring that the Knicks had the 1-point advantage. So that was really the even part. It's just the
This is
MVP
an
of the
evenly
league
matched series.
had a 50-point performance and
Yeah.
couldn't miss.
Yes.
And the little side note is, should he have still been in the game?
Right.
And the drama, that's what you love about the NBA playoffs.
Yep.
All right, it changes very quickly, doesn't it?
Yep.